Morning.
Good morning.
The
You
jail
spoke to
sergeant
early.
just left. He's going to put them on shortly.
Okay. You spoke to early yesterday about the sun.
I know. And here it goes. And then the snow came right on in, huh?
Yep. I was surprised to see it this morning. I was thinking too, okay, we're on the other side.
Yep. It's only a matter of time before spring is here. We're almost there.
Then we can all complain about the heat.
I never complain about heat. It could be 100 degrees. You won't get me complaining.
I do not like the humidity, but it's better than snow, so.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay, we're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Javier Robert Diaz. Council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Vita Rothstein appearing on behalf of Mr. Diaz, who is going to be pleading not guilty and is requesting the assistance of the Public Defender's Office.
Are you Javier Diaz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Today's the date set for an arraignment. I have here a felony complaint. It alleges that on or about March 11, 2023, at the area of 510 Hodge in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of weapons carrying concealed. The allegations is that you did carry a dangerous weapon, that being a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise, in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, and that being a Chevy Malibu, that this was done contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.227. This is a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years and or $2,500 in fines, and mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required under the law. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can request to have representation by way of the Office of the Public Defender appointed at the expense of the public. According to Ms. Rothstein, you are making a request for court-appointed counsel. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You have the right to plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. You have the right to proceed in this matter to a preliminary examination because you're being charged with a felony. You have the right to have preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to have the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that there's sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and sufficient probable cause to charge you with the crime. You understand your right so far?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right in this matter to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you are innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the prosecution intends to call against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence at a trial that you believe would further a defense of this charge. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody, and you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt before you are deemed to be guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your rights?
No, ma'am.
The court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you currently employed?
I start work on Wednesday.
Okay, where's that?
Meyer Warehouse.
What's your home address?
6186 North Raindrop Road.
Is that in East Lansing?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your phone number?
517 303-7828.
Said 303,
Yes, ma'am.
and what's the last four digits?
7828.
You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores, March 24th, 2023 at 9 o'clock in the morning. That can be held via Zoom. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Flores in person at the court, March 31st, 2023 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Did you get your notice to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you have Zoom instructions as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, very good. Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond or any other matter?
No, ma'am.
You can address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. In speaking with Mr. Diaz, he tells me that he has lived here in the area most of his life. He lives with his mother. His entire family lives here. He informs me that he does not have a previous criminal history, no failure to appears. He is about to start a job next week, or I guess this week because it's Sunday, at the Meyer warehouse. So we would ask for a PR bond. I think that he will come to court when he is supposed to. And I don't believe he is a risk to the public at this time. Thank you.
Okay. I don't see any prior criminal history. And I will grant the request for personal recognizance bond. Bond will be set in the amount of 2,500 personal recognizance. While out on bond, you have the following conditions. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release from custody. You will be reporting to them weekly, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And you should receive the information as to how you report to them from the jail. Do you have any questions today, sir?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
We're all set, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you.
No problem. We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Prince Chilaka. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Vida Rothstein appearing on behalf of Mr. Chilaka, who is appearing via Zoom from the jail. He will be pleading not guilty and requesting the assistance of the public defender's office going forward.
Thank you. Are you Prince Chilaka?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you pronounce your middle name for me?
Ebube Chukwu.
Thank you. Mr. Chilaka, today is the date set for an arraignment. I have a misdemeanor complaint that alleges that on or about March 11, 2023, in the area of 4821 Duvernay, apartment 311, city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of domestic violence. The allegations are that you did make an assault or an assault and battery upon a Michelle Maddox, a resident or former resident of your household, or an individual with whom you have a dating relationship, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.812. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. This is a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty attached, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to be represented by counsel throughout the pendency of this prosecution, and if you're questioned by law enforcement, if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed at the expense of the public. The court will note here that you are making that request at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty or you can stand mute. You have the right in this matter to proceed to trial. You have the right to a jury trial. At the time of trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence, and you're innocent until the prosecution can prove you guilty. You have the right to cross-examine, see and hear any of the witnesses that they intend to call against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses to trial or present evidence at trial that you believe would further defense to the charge. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. And you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge of domestic violence beyond a reasonable doubt. You have any questions about your rights so far?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your question?
Right now I have a 3-year-old daughter. Oh, no, never mind. I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the purposes of your arraignment, the court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You're currently scheduled for pretrial conference before Judge Cynthia Ward, March 27, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. Did you get a copy of your notice to appear as well as Zoom instructions for a court?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently employed?
No, but I have an interview coming up on Monday.
What's your home address?
My home address is 428 Duvernay Drive, Lansing, Michigan.
Is that the address of Michelle Maddox?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're not gonna be able to go there. Where are you gonna go if you're released from custody?
Okay.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I need an answer.
Yeah, I got it. Yep.
No, I asked you, did you hear my question? My question
Yeah,
is, where are you going to go if you are
Oh, I have-
released?
Oh, I have some. I'm gonna be living with a friend.
Where's that?
I have to get in touch with him first before he's in MOK.
You said he lives on MLK?
Yes, ma'am.
So you say it's the friend?
I don't know the full address, but he lives at MOK close to Kroger. West Homes. So at the back of Kroger, like the apartment at the back of Kroger.
What's your phone number?
My phone number, I just got a phone number, but I gave my new number is 517. This is my baby mama's number. So I don't know my new number. So it's 517-455-4541.
517-455-4541.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond, or any other matter?
I'm on probation.
Before which court?
Amazing. And also I'm on a GPS tether.
You're on GPS tether right now?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're on bond.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're on probation and then you have another case pending?
No, I have a case. I have a case at Mason. I missed my court date. So that's why I had a warrant. Then we plus this new case.
Sounds good.
So
You can address bond, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, in speaking with Mr. Chilaka, he did let me know that he does have a GPS tether. He is on bond and he did miss his court date back on February 14th. He has lived in the area for the past 3 years and he does have one child that lives in the area as well. So I would respectfully request a PR bond. However, I understand that might not be possible. So in the alternative, a low cash bond, as you've heard, he is currently unemployed, but he is interviewing and seeking work.
Oh. Is there a victim notification on the GPS tether he's already on?
I believe, I'm
Oh,
not too sure.
Okay. Based on the circumstances, personal recognizance bond will not be granted. He's failed to appear in court recently, even on GPS tether. So the court will set the bond at 2,500 cash surety. Let's see. I'm going to add GPS tether, which you're already on, and victim notification. While out on bond, you have the following conditions. There's a no contact order that's going to be in place for the protection of Michonne Maddox. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever Michonne Maddox is. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to have contact directly or indirectly. That includes third-party contact or contact via text message, social media, letter, jail costs, none of those things are you allowed to do. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record today, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, you're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Matthew Christopher Martin. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Vita Rothstein appearing on behalf of Mr. Martin, who will be pleading not guilty and requesting the assistance of the Public Defender's Office going forward.
Are you Matthew Martin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Martin, today's the date set for an arraignment. I do have a misdemeanor complaint here. It alleges that on or about March 11, 2023, at the area of 350 Frandor, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of retail fraud, second degree. The allegations is that you did, while Ulta Beauty was open to the public, steal property of the store that was offered for sale at the price of $200 or more, but less than $1,000, contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.356D. This is a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 1 year and or $2,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or the difference in the price of the property stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. To impose a fine of 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount, or it must be determined by a trier of fact at trial. The court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to expenses for emergency response and prosecution. Do you understand the charge, sir, and the maximum penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel during the pendency of this prosecution, or if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the Public Defender's Office appointed at the expense of the public. We're gonna note here that you have made that request, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, anything that you put in writing can be used against you. In this matter, you can plead guilty, not guilty, or stand mute. You have the right to proceed to trial, and you have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence, and you're innocent until you can be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses the prosecution intends to call against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence to your defense at trial. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have sounds be used against you. And you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you. You have to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have any questions about your rights?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond on any other matter?
No, ma'am.
Are you employed?
I have an interview with K&S Cleaning this coming week.
What's your home
They,
address?
currently don't have my own address. I'm staying with my mother at 1525 Congress Street.
What's your phone number?
517-894-4320.
The court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You can address bond, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would respectfully request a PR bond for Mr. Martin. It is my understanding in speaking with him that he has lived in the Lansing area his entire life. He lives with his mother, his fiance, and his 2 children. And he also tells me that he has never failed to appear to court. And he does have an upcoming job interview that he would very much like to be able to keep. So we would request a PR bond, or in the alternative, a low cash bond.
Okay. Not considered to be an immediate threat to the public safety. I'll grant the request for personal recognizance bond. Bond will be set in the amount of 2,000 personal recognizance. However, while on bond, you have the following conditions. You need to report to all of your court dates. You'll get a court date mailed to the address on Congress Street. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a prescription. I'm going to order that you participate in substance abuse testing and monitoring while out on bond. Not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. I'm going to order you to test weekly while out on bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Chantal Brandis Wright. This is file number 23-00619 SM. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Vita Rothstein appearing on behalf of Ms. Wright, who is going to plead not guilty and request the services of the Public Defender's Office going forward.
Are you Chantal Wright?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Wright, today's the date set for a arraignment. I have a misdemeanor complaint here. It alleges that on or about January 28th, 2023, at the area of 501 South Butler, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly, contrary to law, commit the act in count one of assault or assault and battery. It alleges that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon the following person: and Amaya Williams, and that this was done contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.81. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. This is a misdemeanor and the maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have counsel represent you at the expense of the public. Court will note that you are requesting court-appointed counsel. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, ma'am, and anything that you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You have the right to plead not guilty, and you have the right to stand mute. You have the right to proceed to trial, anything, and you have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses the prosecution intends to call against you at trial. You have the right to call your own witnesses to a trial or present evidence that you believe would show a defense to this charge. You have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody pending the trial date. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. And you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. The court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. For your request, are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond on any other matter?
No, ma'am.
Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is that?
Peckham.
What's your home address?
7407 Shellflower, Apartment 8, Lansing, Michigan, 48917.
And your phone number?
517-643-1382.
Do you have any questions about your rights right now, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You can address bond, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would respectfully request a PR bond in this matter. In speaking with Ms. Wright, she tells me she does not have a criminal history and that she has lived in the Lansing area for 10 years. She does work at Peckham, so I believe she is not a flight risk or a danger to the community.
I grant the request for personal recognizance bond. Bond is set at 500 personal recognizance While out on bond, you have the following conditions. First, you need to make sure you appear for all of your court dates. And you have or will have a pretrial before Judge Buchanan. That court date will be mailed to the address that you provided on Shellflower, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
While on bond, you're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. There's a no contact order that's going to be in place for the protection of Amaya Williams. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she is. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're not to have contact directly or indirectly with Amaya Williams. Do you have any questions about what indirect contact would entail?
No, ma'am.
You're not to be upon the premises of 501 South Butler, apartment 13. Do you have any questions at this time, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record today, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, you're all set, Ms. Wright.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Joshua Walker, file number 22-03202, FY, counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Vita Rothstein appearing on behalf of Mr. Walker, who is going to be pleading not guilty and requesting the assistance of the Public Defender's Office going forward.
Hey, Joshua Darrell Walker.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Walker, today is the date set for an arraignment. I have a felony complaint here. It alleges that on or about October 23rd, 2022, at 437 East Edgewood, Apartment G, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly, contrary to law, commit the act in count 1, home invasion, first degree. The allegations is that you did break and enter or did enter without permission a dwelling located at 437 East Edgewood, Apartment G, Lansing, and while entering, present in, or exiting, did commit an assault, and while entering, present in, or exiting the dwelling, Tricia Moore was lawfully present therein, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.110A2. This is a felony. The maximum penalty is 20 years in prison and or $5,000 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed for any other conviction arising out of the same transaction. There's a count 2 of interfering with a crime report, committing crime, threatening to kill or injure. The allegations is that you did, through the unlawful use of force or physical force, prevent or attempt to prevent another person from reporting a crime committed or attempted by another person, and the violation involved threatening to kill or injure a person, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.483A2B. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 10 years in prison and or $20,000 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed for any other conviction. There's a count 3 of domestic violence. It alleges that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Tricia Moore, an individual with whom you have a dating relationship, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.812. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. That is a misdemeanor with the maximum penalty of 93 days and or $500 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. There is, however, a second offense notice. It says, take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of assaulting or assaulting and battering his or her spouse, former spouse, an individual with whom he or she had a dating relationship, an individual with whom he or she had a child in common, or a resident or former resident of his or her household, or of knowingly assaulting a pregnant individual by violating Michigan Compiled Law 750.812 on or about June 24th, 2003, and therefore upon conviction will be subject to enhanced sentence under MCL 750.814. That makes the sentence on the maximum penalty on the misdemeanor 1 year and or $1,000 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. There's an habitual offender second offense notice as well. It says take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of a felony or an attempt to commit a felony, in that on or about July 1st, 2015, he or she was convicted of the offense of controlled substance possessed narcotics less than 25 grams in violation of Michigan Compiled Law 333.74032A5 in the 30th Circuit Court of Ingham County, State of Michigan. And therefore, the defendant is subject to the penalties provided by Michigan Compiled Law 769.10, 1.5 times the maximum sentence on the primary offense or a lesser term. The maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term for the first conviction. You understand the charges and the maximum penalty attached to each charge?
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't aware, but yes, now, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good. So you have the right to be represented by counsel throughout the pendency of this prosecution. You have the right to have counsel represent you even if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, sir, you can make a request to have the public defender's office represent you at the expense of the public. We are going to make a notation here that you are making that request at this time. You have the right in this matter to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to proceed to preliminary examination in this matter. You have the right to have preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of preliminary examination, you have the right to have the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that there's sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. Do you have any questions so far about your rights?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you have the right to proceed to trial in this matter, and you have the right to jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence at trial, and you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you. You have to prove each element at trial beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the prosecution intends to call. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence at trial. Do you have any questions so far?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address bond in just a moment. For the purposes of arraignment, we'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before me, Judge Kristen Simmons, on March 23rd, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. That is via Zoom. Did you get a notice to appear for that date?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you also have a preliminary examination that's scheduled before me, that's in person at the court, March 31st, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. Do you have any questions so far?
No, Your Honor.
Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond?
No, Your Honor.
Are you employed?
I am employed, as well as I'm a student at LCC in the Builders Program from the Future for Frontliners program from City of Lansing, in which I'm on spring break and we start back Monday.
Where are you employed?
I work for myself, more for less builders.
What's your home address?
934 Michigan Avenue. East Lansing,
Phone
Michigan.
number.
Yes, right.
What's your phone
517
number? Mhm.
517-213-8208.
Address bond, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Given the serious nature of the offenses that are alleged, I do understand that APR bond is highly unlikely. So I would respectfully request in the alternative a lower cash bond. In speaking with Mr. Walker, he tells me that he owns his own business, he owns his own home, that he has lived in this area his entire life and his entire family lives here. And he also tells me he has not ever failed to appear for a court appearance. So I do not believe that he is a flight risk.
Can I say something in regards to bond, Your Honor?
You may, but you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you, but you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I'd just like to let you know that that school program that I'm involved in, I do understand the severity of the charges. But I just want to address that school program that I'm involved in, that builder's license, is very important to me, being that I do have a criminal past. I was given an opportunity to get a builder's license and make a better way for myself, and I've been, really diligent with that. So I'm just really hoping, other than being, getting out of here, I'm really hoping to be able to see my schooling through. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Well, And that is with all due respect. You know, I do say that with respect. I do understand.
Okay, you have a rather extensive criminal history, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. It's-
And that criminal history includes some other violent and assaultive behavior. This is a matter in which you're, alleged to have committed some violent and assaultive behavior, including a home invasion, and that in and of itself carries up to 20 years. It's being charged as a habitual offender as well. We have some serious concerns here. There's also been threats or allegations of threats to kill the alleged victim. So personal recognizance bond will not be granted as there is an immediate concern for the safety of the public, primarily the safety of the alleged victim, Trisha Ann Moore. So personal recognizance will be denied. Bond will be set in the amount of 25,000 cash surety. There will be GPS tether with victim notification. While on bond, there will also be while on bond and even while in the custody, if you don't post a bond, there's a no contact order for the protection of Patricia Ann Moore. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she is. Do you understand that?
Understood.
You're not to have contact directly or indirectly. That includes third party contact. You can't make any jail calls. You can't text or send any messages through social media. You can't have anybody else do that on your behalf. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release from custody. Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor. 25,000 cash or surety?
25,000. Any other questions, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the jail need to switch over for the last person?
Yeah, we're gonna be going over to the tablet.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there one more person?
Yes.
Correct. My understanding is that they were disruptive when you were trying to meet with them and they had to separate him.
Yes, he refused to speak with me.
Okay, sounds good. So I think he's in a separate cell. They're gonna put him on an iPad.
Yes,
Okay,
we are, Your Honor.
do you need me to speak with him beforehand?
If I'll give him the option, if he would like to speak with you at this time, then we'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we'll be on in just a few minutes.
Alrighty. We're back at the cell, if you can hear me, Your Honor.
I can hear you. Mr. Reynolds, can you hear me? Did you want to meet with the public defender?
You want to meet with the attorney
For what?
so she can represent you when you talk to the judge here?
I talk to the judge here.
Yep.
Don't want an attorney. If I don't like that, I can fire her anytime, okay?
Well, the judge is asking you, right?
I ain't gonna sit.
What was your question, sir?
Huh?
What was your question?
I said my question was, I'm gonna fire her ass if I don't like it anyway. If I want to. Repeatedly.
Did you want to meet with her or no?
For who?
The public defender.
Okay, let me get some. I gotta have my I've been in this motherfucking jail cell. I gotta have my medication.
Okay.
Yeah, have
Okay.
a medication.
Get you your medication, sir. I don't know what medication you need, but we can get that for you. My question though is, do you want to meet with the public defender to see if you want their office to represent you, and then she can advise you as it relates to today.
And I,
What I won't do though, is yell back and forth with you today, okay?
upstairs in the basement, got a courtroom looking like. Okay, I don't even see who it is. She ain't introduced herself, I don't know who that is. It's up to you, whatever you wanna, all I'm asking for something to eat. I eat fucking bread.
All right, do you wanna talk to
the- I'm muting him. Mr. Reynolds, you want to be quiet and comply, or do you want to wait until tomorrow and see the magistrate? I can't hear. Can you unmute for me?
Please, what?
Do you want to meet the magistrate tomorrow, or do you want to do this today?
Who?
I'm talking to you.
Man, what'd you say? I can't, bring it up some, man.
No, you can see her right here. You can hear her.
What'd you say?
I asked, did you want to move forward with your arraignment today? Because you're being a little loud, and I can't proceed if you're going to be yelling back and forth, okay? So if you don't want to comply, I can let you sit there and then you can talk to the magistrate tomorrow, okay?
I heard the lady you talking to, what birthday you got down here?
Birthday for whom?
Whoever you talking to.
I'm talking to you.
All right, what's his birthday then?
You tell me, what's your birthday?
My birthday 56, what's yours? I'm well over 56.
What's your birthday, sir?
Oh no, why would you not tell me your fucking birthday? You gonna sit up there balled up right now.
Mr. Reynolds,
I got to have my water,
there's water in your cell.
water myself,
Yep.
and I got to have my daily bread.
Okay, you got 2 sandwiches right there in your hand,
I
sir.
don't eat flesh. I don't eat processed food.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, did you hear the judge
Thing
here?
of this, do you want to go home today? Do you have somewhere to go?
Mr.
What
Reynolds,
do they got on you, man?
Mr. Reynolds, do you want to talk to the judge here, Ms. Simmons, or do you want to talk to the public defender? She's asking you that. All you have to do is say, yes, you want to talk to the public defender, then we can get you arraigned so we can get you out of here.
My attorney don't, I got a mixed up. You said somebody don't want to talk to an attorney. My
Yeah.
attorney come to me.
Okay.
If I don't like her
Yeah.
or him or whoever it is, I don't talk to him. I'm still trying to get his ass up off the ground. I can't even do that. I voluntarily
Okay.
got up. I'm asking you, what do you
I'm
want
gonna
to do?
remand him. He can see the magistrate tomorrow.
Okay, you're out.
Thank you.
No worries.
Have a good one.
Thank you. At least we tried again.
Indeed. Have a good one.
All right.